quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Jordan, let's start there. You came out of the combine convinced this was the pick?
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense just because they need a quarterback in Las Vegas right now. But also Fernando Mendoza, I think he is the best in this year's class. Resiliency is one word I would use to describe him, just because think of all the big-time moments that he was able to overcome in this year's season. The big moment going into Oregon, the big hit against Ohio State, and then also the big hits that he took in the national title game against Miami. Those are the big moments that he was able to overcome, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer for me whatsoever. We know Fernando Mendoza is going #1 overall. I believe him and Clint Kubiak will be an excellent team. Get him under center. He was 98% in the shotgun at college. That's something you have to watch, but the fit between Kubiak and Mendoza makes a lot of sense, a lot of shifts, a lot of motions. Mendoza's easily the smartest quarterback out there in this class. I like that pick.
All right, after Mendoza at 1, Jordan's got defensive players going with each of the next 4 picks. You got Arvell Reese going to the Jets at 2. Tell us what you were thinking with the Cardinals at 3.
Yeah, guys, we're going to see a lot of defensive players come off of the board very quickly. And I have David Bailey going at #3 overall to Arizona. They need that defensive building block opposite of Josh Sweat. I think both of them fit really well together in that 3-4 scheme that they employ out there. So I really like what he adds to that defense. I think it would be a great pairing just because of the explosiveness that he brings to the table. 14.5 sacks. He was one of the most disruptive defensive players in the entire country this past season. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans, I go with Ruben Bain, the defensive end out of Miami. A pillar piece that Mario Cristobal just talks about emphatically during his time there. Yes, I know the arms came in at sub 31 inches, but I don't care. Everybody knew that he already had short arms, and he still was able to go out and be one of the most productive defensive players in the entire country. Everybody knew that he was one of the best players on the defense, and he still went out and proved that in a national title. Also, moving on, we go with Sonny Styles to the New York Giants, somebody whose stock has absolutely skyrocketed throughout the season. 6'5", 244 pounds. If you think about it, John Harbaugh loves somebody in the middle of that defense, going back to his days with the Ravens. The Giants don't really have that right now. So inputting Sonny Styles right in the middle of that defense, I think this is a fantastic pairing. They need somebody long and rangy like that right in the middle, Chase.
Jordan, I love the pick. I love the combine they have, but what about the offense? We need help offensively. The offensive line was the 8th worst in terms of pressure percentage last year, and the Giants receivers only caught 9 touchdowns. Get somebody else outside of Malik Neighbors, maybe a Lemon, a Tyson, a Carnell Tate, one of those guys. Look, I get it. You're building defense, but your weakness on your team is offensively. You have to score points in the NFC East, and you have to go get a playmaker for Jackson Dart, in my opinion.
Speaking of offense and playmakers, Jordan has the Saints taking Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love at #8. Love compared himself to someone the Saints know well last week. Take a listen.
I would say my best comparison would be Alvin Kamara. I would say him. He's the most complete back that I've seen. Can do a little bit of everything. Can make plays when you need him to. So definitely him.
All right, it's a lot coming together. Laura's wearing Saints colors in that interview. Jordan, what do you think about Love and the Saints? Why do you like that fit?
It's all about surrounding Tyler Shuck with adequate weapons. And you have to remember, Alvin Kamara, the name that he mentioned, is going to be 31 years old, and he's entering the final season of his deal. So why not go ahead and get the heir apparent behind him? Jeremiah Love adds so many things to the running game, but an underrated part about his game is what he adds in the passing game. He brings that Jahmyr Gibbs type of fear factor to the table where you can play him in the slot, you can line him up out wide, you can line him up in the backfield too. That's why I love the fit.
You're telling me the best overall player from top to bottom in the entire draft will be there at 9 for the Saints? Sign me up. Look, I was there in 2017 when the Saints drafted Alvin Kamara. I saw firsthand his development. I think that this guy right here, Jeremiah Love, he can be better. He has a ceiling of that. He's a 3-down back. He's explosive. He's exactly what Tyler Shuck and the Saints need to make that next jump offensively. I like that pick a lot.
That was the pick at 8 for the Saints. At #9, Jordan makes Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs fans everywhere happy by giving the Chiefs a receiver. Jordan, take us through your thought process there.
Well, the Chiefs desperately need somebody that can defeat man coverage, and there was nobody better in the country last season than Carnell Tate. I really like Carnell Tate in this Kansas City offensive scheme just because of the explosive factor, especially the down the field factor that has been missing from the Chiefs offense, especially since Tyreek Hill has been gone. Honestly, they haven't had that down the field weapon that they can consistently go to. Cardinal Tate, in my opinion, he's not as productive as this guy coming out, but the player that he reminds me of is Devontae Smith when he was coming out of Alabama. That long, slinky build that can really take advantage of defenses down the field.
Put him opposite of Rashee Rice. I like it. I was with Andy Reid for 3 years. He loves to get his playmakers in space. I agree with you totally. Find a way to defeat man coverage, because teams this past year, they're coming up and saying, we're going to play press man-to-man. You don't have anyone that can beat man-to-man coverage. You get all those guys, plus maybe a Travis Kelce back, plus maybe somebody else at a running back in the free agent market. The Chiefs are retooled offensively, and you still have the best player in the world at quarterback in Patrick Mahomes.
You know, Chase, a guy who might fit for the Chiefs at running back is the untagged day, Adam Schefter. Take us through some of the big stuff, starting with Kyler Murray.
Dan, the Cardinals informed him today that they plan to release him when the new league year opens next Wednesday, which means Kyler Murray will be a free agent. The Cardinals will pay him $36.8 million in guaranteed money this year, and he will have the ability to move on and join this free agent class of quarterbacks. Kyler Murray moving on from Arizona. And the surprise news of the day, the Bears Pro Bowl center Drew Dahlman informed the team that at the age of 27 years old, after just 5 NFL seasons, 4 in Atlanta, last year in Chicago, he has decided to leave the game of football and retire. He's seen the type of effect the game has had on his father. He is getting out now. It was a surprise to the Bears, who put so much energy and focus into rebuilding their offensive line a year ago, and now the Bears will have to address the center position again.
Big hole to fill there for Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and company. This was also the day of the franchise tag deadline. So what happened with a couple of running backs starting in New York?
Different results for different running backs, Dan. The New York Jets put the exclusive or non-exclusive franchise tag on Breece Hall, who now obviously will be locked into the Jets this year. Jets have been hoping to get a long-term deal done with him. Doesn't sound like the sides got overly close to getting that done. Both sides can continue to try. They have until July 15th to work out a deal, but Breece Hall now is under the franchise tag, whereas in Seattle, the Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker is allowed to get to the market. He was not tagged at all. He will be a part of the free agent group next week. It won't be long before he has a new home and a new team next week as he talks to teams about getting a deal, but he is expected to be moving on from Seattle unless somehow Seattle steps up with a big offer, but it didn't tag him today, and now Kenneth Walker is free to leave and seek greener pastures.
Yeah, you would think with Breece Hall sitting there now at 14.3, that's got to be at least what Walker's looking for. Probably not going to get that from Seattle. Chase, do you like this decision by the Seahawks?
I do, but I don't necessarily agree with it so much. As like, hey, when you have a guy who is a Super Bowl MVP, who brings you that caliber of run, you look at his postseason only, and the dude absolutely put on a show. I believe that he's going to get that $14, $15 million guys like you were talking about. But you look at the Seahawks, and they're prioritizing re-signing JSN. They're prioritizing re-signing Witherspoon, which they need to do. And ultimately, right, Shefty, like, for me, it's Sam Darnold is going to be up as well, too. You can't pay everyone. A lot of times when you win your Super Bowl, a lot of times you bring everyone back, right? You can't do that. Go test the market. If there's a certain amount that they want to pay, then they do. But this is going to be a huge loss for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Jordan, you got somebody in the draft that would work as a Walker replacement if they do lose him?
Yeah, I actually had them going with Mike Washington Jr., the running back out of Arkansas, who is by far one of the biggest combine risers in this year's draft. 6'1", 233 pounds. He ran a 4.33 40-yard dash. He was